Sorry about the ears there. I forgot to turn on the microphone before I hit record. And starting things over is for wimps. Anyway, this is a rare week where I know exactly what I'm going to be putting on the picture before I finish this, because I quite honestly have literally nothing else to talk about. I've been 100% absorbed in the classes that I have for summer, and I say classes, it's just one class, but it still sucks. From last week, still sucks. It's still very unfair. It's still, I realize that the questions are very actively trying to trick me into getting the wrong answers by having like double meanings to every single question. So like you can interpret it the wrong way, and if you just so happen to interpret it the wrong way, then you might as well just get like not even tried. It's kind of like that kind of situation. All I know is that I wake up in the morning and start my class at 11, and I don't get done until either 2 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So that's how my days have been going this past week. I have got one more week of it, and when I get done with that, which is going to be next week on the dot, I am going to be the happiest boy in the world, and I probably still won't have much to talk about considering, I don't know what I'm going to be able to be doing from now till next week. Uh, but that is what it is. Um, I figured out that next week I'm going to be doing for my Facebook video, I'm going to be doing a song parody from Gallivant that just kind of like sums up the situation that I have with my class and such like that. I've started a little bit on the lyrics as of right now, but I have no idea what kind of, you know, visuals I'll have as of right now. I really need to start focusing on the lyrics right now if I want to get all this done by Wednesday, because I did promise on Facebook that I would have next week's video up. That's also the thing, I didn't put one up this week because of certain situations throughout this whole country. It's been wild. Um, Let me take a little bit of a drink before I go into this detail. So, this past week, there was a bit of an incident. And I think historians of the future will know very well this point in history as the time when a man named George Floyd was killed with little reason in, I think, Minneapolis or something like that. But protests against this action got escalated very much and turned into a very, very big thing, to the point where people all over the USA were protesting the death of Mr. Floyd, and it got to the point where these protests turned into riots, where buildings and company property was being burnt to the ground, and people were taking stuff from those places that were being burned and ransacked. And it's really just like, my God, it's it was really just kind of like overwhelming to see the kind of carnage that happened throughout the whole country, and especially something that started in my hometown of Minnesota. Home state. And it's just like, it really makes me uneasy, I guess. My whole life I've never been very good at handling hatred or, being, what's the word? I've never been good at staying calm when other people are really upset, if that makes any sense. I always just kind of retreat back into the shell where I can't be hurt whenever somebody like gets that angry at anything, and seeing everybody collectively lose their minds for multiple reasons, one reason or another, whether justified or not, is very outlandish. And it got to the point where I was like really afraid of making any sort of, step towards like anything, because it seems like no matter which side you go on, or which side you, or whatever you say, you're always like bringing in the hatred of some person, even if like even if you have the best intentions, if you have the most positive outlook in what you're trying to do, then it's naturally just the wrong thing in somebody else's eyes, and you're going to be condemned for it. And it got to the point where I'm looking through Facebook and all that, and I'm just thinking like, there's so many people that are broadcasting all of this stuff that's happening in these countries, and then there are the people that are trying to throw up the token, this is what actually happens that the news doesn't want you to see, or something like that. And it's just like it's all over the place. But I mean, we can't it's gotten like so far out of control, and I like try to keep things simple for my own sake. And from what I could tell, a man was wrongly murdered, or sorry, I don't know if I should use that word, because as of right now it hasn't been proven yet, which is kind of it's just it's kind of stupid that I have to keep myself from saying that, because I'm gonna say murdered, because I'm not a state official. I can say what I want without jurors trying, without reflecting the opinion of a juror or something. I'm sorry. See, this is what happens when I get into situations like this. I get all flustered. I can't navigate these situations in my head that easily, and that's why I fall short in politics in general. Really, I just I get too caught up in my own head to ever really say anything of meaning. But the situation is that a man was murdered wrongfully, very very wrong that this happened, and it sparked a big uproar. Protests came out, and those protests unfortunately turned into people rioting and breaking property, busting down buildings, burning cities, and you know, there's lots of scenes of people making out with lots of items in supermarkets, and it's just it's what I find very saddening about this whole experience is that this case is forever going to have the stigma that lots of riots happened and lots of cruelties happened in light of people trying to protest, I assume, in a justice way to start with, and it unfortunately spiraled into something that the original people could not have imagined, or would never have thought that would ever happen for something like this. And I can't imagine what the people who were close to the guy are thinking about this whole thing, or even like the one that committed it in the first place. Like, he's on such a spotlight at the moment, and just everybody here, everybody like closely involved in this is in such a big spotlight that it's hard to imagine what can be done about it. Because when something this big gets into this kind of a spotlight, nobody's ever going to be happy about the result of it. That's just how it works. And pardon me to get political as well, but I just really don't believe that our president is well suited to handle the situation anyway. I really doubt that he can come up with a solution that will be satisfactory to anybody, considering how these past couple of days he's just been fanning the flames of this whole thing. And uh it really feels like that the country I grew up in is starting to collapse right in front of our eyes. And one pandemic has brought light to a system in which we realize we cannot uh, control the lives in which we live, if that makes sense. You see, the greatest thing about America is that you can live your life how you want to. You have lots of opportunities, lots of things that you can do, but the problem with that is that it becomes harder and harder to control the people that live in that area. And a little bit of control is fine. It keeps people from building their own nukes so they can bomb the school whenever they get a bad grade or something like that. That's that's good control, but I don't think what I think is going to come up now is the fact that all of these states and such have their own ways of dealing with everything that is happening, from the pandemic to the riots to just about everything that goes on in the economy of our country. And what people are going to realize is that with every single state being a potential wild card into literally every single operation, it's going to be catastrophic to organize any sort of thing for the better good in any capacity. And that's just kind of how it is. I don't know. I don't know if anything I say is. I don't know if anything I say means anything. It probably doesn't. But I don't know. It says a lot when. I just think it says a lot when people ignore a world stopping pandemic to go and burn a target because of an incident that they probably wouldn't think about if it happened in January. Nobody would probably be as up in arms about this if we weren't in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. And that's just how this world is, unfortunately. Well, that's about 8 minutes of rambling of something I probably couldn't really get across quite correctly, but what do I? What does it matter? Honestly, boy, this is turning out to be very depressing, and I really don't have anything else to say. I canceled my last video from this week, and I'm working hard on the video I'm doing next week. Oh, I suppose this is also some positive news. I For quick play, I finally, freaking finally, put together and exported a video for quick play that I'm going to put up either tonight or tomorrow, and hopefully I can get the other episodes up and running as well. I've put in the Eve of Souls episode and got that ready to go, and I also made I first tightened up the animation for the intro and made an end card for every episode. It's kind of reminiscent of the TV shutting off from Game Grumps, except in keeping it with like the disc playing theme that kind of started, um, it shows the it shows like a blue screen for an eject thing, and then it goes to a screensaver of the quick play logo, just kind of like bouncing around. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's not great, but it's it's a concept, and I don't really need much to start out. I think it's pretty nice. I think it's a pretty good starting out point. So I just need to. You see, the thing I'm also thinking about now is that once I get through all of my backlog and I finally have more room on my hard drive, now I gotta start thinking about like actually playing stuff for content now, and that's gonna be upsetting because I've been reflecting on my play style these past weeks that I haven't been able to play games with my friends, and I realize that like I get extraordinarily defensive and um what's the word I always try to like play as if I'm going to be really good at it, and I need to kind of like let that go to have a little bit more fun with things because I know there are situations in my past where I've acted like a complete jerk because I wanted to play well, and I that contradicts with me later saying nuts to the rules and stuff like that. So I need to develop a consistent thing for my friends to kind of go off of. And I say that like they're thinking about making content as well, but they're not. They're just playing games and having fun. And I don't know. I need to start having that mindset as well again. And I also need to. I I and I bring that up because I remember my TTT experience with my friends, and I'm just bad at shooters to begin with, and since that game literally revolves around being good at shooters and stuff like that, it just I really struggle in it a lot to the point where I'm so focused on like not dying all the time, I forget about the like core mechanics of the whole thing, and then I get upset when somebody kills me for what I believe is no reason when it turns out to actually be like a very justified thing to do. And I just need to get better, I guess. That's a very broad term, but I just need to be more open-minded of failure because I'll be honest, I haven't like met with failure a lot in my life, and I just need to be able to take it in stride sometimes and be open to learning more about it and putting in the time to fix those mistakes that I have. And I can hopefully with like especially with quick play I can find people that are willing to tell me if I suck and probably like help me focus on what I can do to fix that kind of stuff. Because I did like watch I did watch the episode of Eve of Souls, and there are some things that I would change. Definitely, there's some things that I wanted to say but didn't say in the moment and stuff like that. And I'm hoping as I go further and further along, I can reinforce some better habits for playing games for entertainment and stuff like that. Or just better stuff for entertainment in general, because I'm gonna need to do that. I'm gonna need to learn more of that if I'm gonna be doing You Got Game back at Stevens Point again. But that will all come another day. And hopefully I can bring this setup to Stevens Point. I signed an off-campus lease with some from my friends, and I really hope I can bring this computer with to continue my quick play operation. And if I can't, then that really sucks because I've unfortunately started to grow dependent on Creative Cloud. Well, not so much dependent on it, but more of like everything I do is on here and it can't go backwards. And I really want stuff on the laptop because that's like the permanent version of Premiere that I have. It's whatever. If you're just a random person, thank you for listening. And if you're me from the future trying to gain back your memories, stay strong. Bye.